Well, nature this morning is reminding us where the real power lies. As you can probably see from the movement outside, there is a pretty severe storm going on out there, and it's going to get worse before it gets better. The Met Office has put up a warning that your life could be in danger on the streets, that debris could fly around, that all in all, transportation will be disrupted, the seas will be high. There are plenty of hazards, plenty of perils. So watch out. Watch out when you go out this morning. I wish I didn't have to go out. I do. But there we go. That's the power of nature. Now, let's turn for a moment to the power of computers, because that is getting almost as frightening, but in a different way. There's a story, it's only a small story, out of Scotland this morning, where a mother of two girls, university-age girls, has died, and the housing association or the organisation that owns the house have evicted them on the basis that they have no right, that the house was in the mother's name. Now, the big problem with authority at the moment, starting at number 10 and going all the way down through the councils and through the housing associations and through all sorts of other organisations, is that computers rule. The computer decides more often than not our destiny, our future. Banks, credit card companies, local councils, district councils, county councils, Westminster's executive officers, Westminster's politicians. They're all dominated by the computer. The computer makes decisions about our lives. And is it time that that should stop? Because the computer does not have emotion. There are all sorts of learned articles written, all sorts of studies done, all sorts of claims made that computers do not have emotions. You may well be a widow with 5 children, no income, starving, nowhere to go. The computer will determine that you should leave your premises because of the set of rules put into it at some stage by humans and not changed, because the human that put it in was a Jobsworth, whose own life is governed by rules, by forms. There is no room for elasticity, no room for discretion, no room for looking at cases on an individual basis. Was it ever thus, you say? Well, yes. I can remember, not so very long ago, in fact, not very long ago at all, being able to go into my bank and discuss with my bank manager that I had a temporary shortage of funds. 10 days. I showed him where the funds were coming from, and he would make a temporary accommodation because he knew me. And we'd spoken many times, and he had followed my career, my ups and my downs. He knew something about me. He knew how far he could let me go. He knew how to make an exception, how to bend the rules. The computer does not. And bank managers do not. They're not even managers. Bank officials now do not have discretion. They tap in the information, and somewhere a computer makes a decision. Now, I have heard the argument that soon artificial intelligence is robots as we've seen them on the screen, in plays, in stories, even in demonstrations, doing wonderful things. But they do them as mechanical machines. I cannot find any evidence whatsoever in learned articles where there is an admission made that computers have emotions. In fact, most learned articles end up by saying computers do not have emotions, and there is not much chance of computers having emotions in the near future, and yet we allow them to dominate our lives, to make decisions about us without them knowing the slightest thing about us. That cannot go on, because lives are being ruined. Our social fabric is changing as a result of computers. I am not suggesting for one moment that computers are not of great assistance to mankind, but assistance. And what's happening at the moment is that they are driving, they are dominating, they are in control, and yet they have no emotions. None. They cannot feel sorry for you. They cannot feel happy for you. They cannot cry with you. They cannot laugh with you. They are computers. And the fact that we are allowing them to perform all sorts of functions that demand emotion, demand kindness or severity, demand love or demand hate, but demand some form of human emotion they simply do not have. And the fact that they are now controlling much of our life is beyond the pale. Mankind is losing control. We cannot control easily what's going on outside there. We cannot control the fact that there is a vicious storm. We cannot stop the wind. Do not pick the flowers, says the sign, but the wind cannot read. It's an old Chinese proverb, and how true. There are things in this life that we cannot control. King Canute, supposedly in Bosham, near Chichester on the Sussex coast, ordered the waves to retreat, and they did not comply. In fairness, he didn't expect them to, but he ordered the sea to retreat, the tide to stop, and it didn't. And perhaps in demonstrating to his courtiers that he didn't have that power, he had wisdom that is not shared by modern society. We are not prepared even to say to the computers, enough. Enough is enough. We want to control you. At the moment we can't. But we do have the capability of doing it. And if there should be a department anywhere, it should be one that studies the impact of computers on our lives, in every aspect of them. My favourite story is that this television station once used a piece of video which was rejected by one of the social media giants as being obscene. It was of the War Memorial in the centre of the town, which has some rather tasteful sculpture of some ladies at the bottom of a column. And the sculpture, very tastefully, has exposed a breast. The computer decided that was obscene, even though it stood there and continues to stand there since 1924. That is the sort of ridiculous situation that we can be in because we allow computers too much power. It is time to bring in some form of control. It is time to resubstitute human beings with emotions, not always kindly, not always fair, but at least thinking, where a computer cannot include emotion in its decisions. As I say, enough is enough, and somebody somewhere has got to recognize that. Or, as the Jamaicans would say, am I beating my gums? Probably. But before too much damage is done, it's about time that we woke up to where we are. Morning comment? Get pissed off early. And today you probably want to stay pissed off because it is a lousy, lousy day out there. But it is Mother Nature showing us her power and her raw beauty. But nonetheless, the element that really controls us, and not a bloody machine, not a bloody computer. Good morning. See you in a little while. Toodle pip.